So I think it's no secret that as you watch WandaVision from episode 1 to now episode 5, you see that there's a trend with sitcoms. And the internet has been debating as to the meaning of these meaning, like why sitcoms, like why is this happening? And I think even the actual show made fun of that aspect, knowing that we all will be asking those exact questions. And it was very meta of them to do that, and funny, and I got a giggle out of it. But the amount of theories that have sprung from these, I think, is just a testament to the imagination of us of mankind. But I think people are looking way too much into it. So what I think that these sitcoms are telling us, and actually I think a couple of channels that I've seen have hit it on the or hinted at this part, is that I just think this is Wanda's subconscious. I think this is what her idea of family is, and what she grew up knowing what was normal. So with the sitcoms like the 1950s, 1960s, and the 70s, obviously you see Wanda and you're like, well, she wasn't alive during those times. And you're right. But with a quick Google search, just search popular old shows across the world. And you'll see that in parts of where she is, like, Yugoslavia or stuff like that, you just look at the popular shows that are there. They're old time shows like I Love Lucy still, like MASH. Some of the stuff that for us has gone way past, in the back burner, except when we enter some kind of nostalgia trip. But in those countries, those are still popular. So you could understand why Wanda, coming from that region of the world, she would have those impressions. Same thing like we do. I mean, I grew up on I Love Lucy marathons and reruns and stuff like that. And I wasn't born in the 50s, so, but it's part of my memory bank. Like if someone did the same thing and entered my subconscious, that might be something that I still do fondly remember watching all the episodes of I Love Lucy. Same thing where as we grow up, we find shows that just we touch us a certain way or had an impression. I mean, how many people have fond memories of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Power Rangers, High School Musical, The Big Bang Theory, How I Met Your Mother, Game of Thrones. So all of these shows start having an impression on not all of us, but some of us, and depending, what kind of background you're coming from. If you're coming from a poverty-stricken country, as Sokovia is being portrayed, I mean, not too far off. I mean, they have some pretty modern stuff in Sokovia, but it's not anywhere near what we would consider first world, I guess. Even though in the show you see, they're driving Audis around and stuff like that. So, but the way that we're trying to put Sokovia is that it was coming from a war-torn country. It was just what she grew up watching. These countries don't have access to cable, is basically what is on TV. So when you're just limited to reruns of old sitcoms, they become part of your life, part of your identity. Because her parents were taken, according to the MCU, at an early age, they had, both her and her brother didn't have a sense of what a true family was, what a good father figure, what a healthy family functioning family system looks like. And since now in WandaVision, we're seeing that she's trying to play house, but she doesn't know how to play house. So since she doesn't know how to play house, she's going to resort to what she thinks is the closest version to playing family. In this case, it's sitcoms. And how many, even in modern times, today, how many people or how many times do you hear that discussion about the internet raising our kids, or the fact that, the way social media is happening, it's kind of molding the way we are. So it's not too, it's not too difficult to see that. I mean, how many young men don't grow up with a father figure, so they don't know what a father figure is, or a woman doesn't get raised with a woman so that she doesn't know how to be a woman, or be, raised in womanly ways, whatever, it is to you. And same thing with the man. No disrespect to anybody, but if you don't know, if you don't have an example close to you, you then resort to maybe family members. And if you don't have that, sometimes you see like an Uncle Phil from, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or you see, some of these father figures in sitcoms, and they almost turn into your father figure or your mother figure. And you're like, well, I want to be like that. I mean, how many men don't emulate certain things, even from other shows back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s? I mean, and will be like, wow, that's the way I want to be. I want to be that kind of man. I want to be like James Bond, even though it's a fictional character. So I think in what we're seeing in WandaVision is just her closest association with what a husband looks like, a father looks like, what a healthy quote unquote relationship, family system looks like. I just think it's just that simple. I don't think there's any other meanings as far as just Wanda and why we are seeing this style of sitcoms and why they're coming up like that. I just think it's her subconscious mind and what she just is familiar, and what she deems is the closest thing to what her desires wants. And I think that's what we're seeing. So it's not as elegant as some other theories, but I think it's the simplest explanation, and being able to move past that, because I think a lot of people are still stuck on that part. But once you just understand that it's from a different perspective, other than America, and what is popular even now in 2021, the fact that some of these shows that some I haven't even heard of, and some I haven't watched in over 15 years, but yet, in 2021, it's still popular there. So the idea of this just being what she was raised with and what she became familiar, because she was an orphan, because she was orphaned in an early age. There were the country didn't have the greatest selection of entertainment. And again, even now, as I record this, there's countries that only are limited to 5 or 6 shows that they watch. I just think it's that easy, no more than to look at it. We know she's somehow digging into her memory bank to be able to at least create, if you believe that Wanda's in control of this, if you are one of those that believe that Wanda is the one manipulating this, then she has to be going into her subconscious or to her memory bank to then put something up. So since she doesn't know anything, remember what we've seen from her. She was, she lost her parents early on. She joined like the resistance, according to the Avengers Age of Ultron. And then she was experimented on, that what caused her to have the powers. Then right after that, she goes and joins Ultron, and that's what we see in the Age of Ultron. So as soon as that is done, we see the ending of Age of Ultron. She is now an Avenger, correct? So then we fast forward to Captain America Civil War. It's not that long since the events of Age of Ultron, and yet she's thrown into this hero role. And we know what happens in Civil War and what she did to cause the events. So then they go into hiding after Civil War. Then we find out that her and Vision are developing some kind of, there's a relationship there. We find that out in Infinity War. So there's no time for her to learn anything. Her life has been tragic. Her life has been full of heartbreak, has been full of not understanding who she is, and she's had to become a woman so fast. So she has no other knowledge or no relationships. I don't even know if she had a boyfriend or someone other than Vision. She didn't have another source of reference that she could say, hey, this is what this looks like. This is what that looks like. And I just think that she resorts to what she just seems familiar because she was thrust. The events happen quick. Then she falls in love with this sentioid because she doesn't know. She just has these feelings. Maybe he was, super, he did protect her. And even, we even saw that a little bit in Civil War, where his chivalry was coming through, where he was like, oh, we would protect you. And he directs that towards Wanda. So she falls in love with Vision. And then all of a sudden they're in this great getaway, and bam, the events of Infinity War happen. She sees the love of her life killed in front of her, and she gets snapped out of existence. Next thing, a couple moments later, she's back fighting Thanos and almost beating him. And now we're seeing how, heartbroken she was and how distraught she is on that. But anyways, the point that I'm making is she has no life experience besides the radicalism where she was fighting and stuff like that. And then as soon as we see presented with her in Age of Ultron, she's so young. And from then on, it moves so fast to the events in Endgame. So I just think it's nothing too seriously, like there's no hidden kind of meaning or looking too much into it. I just think if you are, like, again, if you're those people that are saying that Wanda is the one in control in WandaVision, then this is just as easy as saying, yeah, this is her what she feels comfortable with. And that's when we see that when people make her uncomfortable is when she loses control of what's going on. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think this is plausible, if it's just that simple of an explanation, or is there something more? Is there something more drastic, or something more meaningful behind the sitcoms? You tell me. Thank you all for listening. Like, subscribe to the channel, and that's a wrap.